we'll put that away. And let's call the car. Oh, guess I don't have one out. Oh, it's already nearby. There we go. Hello, my name is Joe, and welcome to another edition of Joe's Super Fantabulous PC Gaming Channel, where if you're watching me on YouTube, it's probably been a while since I posted anything. And, oops, let's see, let's not drive into the ocean here. Oh, and I just logged into this session, so I'm about to be annoyed with a bunch of phone calls. Too bad you can't mute the phone in GTA Online and say, look, I just want to drive around and have some fun. I don't want to be bothered. Well, if you're here with me today, you might be wondering, Joe, where have you been? It's been a while. And it's like, yep, it has definitely been a minute. Well, I decided to go back to school, and I earned a master's degree. Ta-da! So, I now hold a Master of Science that actually will get me more jobs. I prefer science degrees, that teach practical skills that are in demand. Beware, college is a minefield of worthless degrees. If you are considering a degree, the first thing you need to do is look in the want ads and see how many jobs are hiring that request that degree. Whoops. And ask yourself, what will it teach me that I don't already know that potentially could get me a job? Now, there are some people that are very much anti-education, like, oh, you don't need a college degree. You should just be able to learn on the job. And I was like, to which I typically say, well, I don't want to be operated on a surgeon who, is self-taught, or be a passenger on an airline where the pilot learned playing Microsoft Flight Simulator. There's some things that you do want to go to school for, and fortunately, the things that I study are one of them. In fact, that's been part of the issue, is that I made some good choices. For me, my college degrees and my certifications that I've earned and maintained opened a lot of doors. In fact, I've been gainfully employed for this entire century so far. I know it's been rough for a lot of other people, and I empathize with how things have been going. I know it's tough, um, but thankfully, I've had some very good luck, at least when it came to jobs. Even when places downsized, they kept me. When I was ready to move on to something more, I found a job that would always pay more money. I haven't had to take any pay cuts. Um, in fact, that's been part of the problem, is that now I work two jobs in addition to going to school again, because I got the first master's degree and I decided to go for another one. Now this one's probably going to be my last degree. Getting to the third degree is probably enough for me, but they're in different areas that are kind of related and will be helpful, and fattens my resume up. And as other people have had problems with employability, I really credit the education and the skills that I learned going to school with keeping me going. You get out of it what you put into it, and I've been paying my dues. So, knock on wood, I'm still employed. Although I'm very conscious of the fact that at any moment, for any reason, it could suddenly end. And that's the other reason why people haven't seen me in a while, because I work nights, weekends, holidays, just anytime they're like, Joe, are you available for a kamikaze mission? I'm like, yep, I absolutely am. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. Uh, Wherever you need me, whatever the time or day, no matter who else is going to be there, I'm available. And I get offered a lot of overtime. Um, I just can't say no. Like I said, I'm conscious of the fact that not everybody gets these opportunities. and that at any moment those opportunities could go away. Not only that, but my viewpoint might be a little bit different than other people's. If I earn an extra dollar working, I don't view it as being paid that extra dollar. I have debts, you know. I didn't have like a whole pile of money to buy my car. I had to take out a loan. But the longer you hold that loan, the more you pay interest. And if you can't pay it all off in one payment, which most of us can't, now you're paying compound interest for the length of the loan for whatever you are still holding. So every extra dollar I get goes to principal for loans. And so they see it as they paid me a dollar, but I see it as they saved me a whole bunch of dollars because that $1 went to principal and did not become compound interest for the life of the loan. So yeah, I might get an extra dollar, but I might get $50 in benefit, depending on how big the loan is and what its length of time is. And so that's how I tend to see things. So my other friends, hey, it's Friday, it's payday, let's go out and spend all the money we have. And I'm like, I'm good. I'm gonna go home and I'm gonna lay on the couch and try to catch up on sleep. And all my money is going to the bank, pay off loans and stuff. And it ends up making things cheaper in the long run by keeping all that down and keeping the credit up. But it gets a little lonely because I'm working 2 jobs and going to school full time. It doesn't leave a lot of time for gaming, which is one of the reasons why people haven't seen me around lately. Not only that, but I'm also trying to maintain my skills, which means learning new things. And the hot thing that's been going on since I took a break from YouTube is artificial intelligence. I am all over AI, generative AI specifically. So everything from text generation, having conversations with these things, uh, generating videos, image generation, anything you could think of, image upscaling. If it can be done with AI, I've been doing it. And I've been using both online services where AI is provided as a service, but also setting up AI systems that are run locally. And there are good reasons for that, especially in a business world. If for whatever reason you work in a business where you are signing non-disclosure agreements to work on stuff, you don't want your trade secrets to be known by an AI that saves all your chats and might be trained on what you tell it. Um, ChatGPT, for example, there was a recent court ruling that where they're accusing ChatGPT of stealing their intellectual property, various different companies and authors, or allowing people to use it to steal their intellectual properties because they train it off of the chats, and then the chats, who knows what people put in there. And so, as part of that court ruling, OpenAI, I believe, is required now to keep all the chat logs. Not that they might not have been doing so already. Um, so, if it hasn't already occurred, I foresee a future where a law firm can pay a fee and they will receive a copy of all your chats, and then they can use that for, well, whatever they want to in order to make your, whoops, I should pay attention to driving here for a second. They can make things more difficult for you. So if you have signed non-disclosure agreements, well, now they can get around that and read all the stuff that you were responsible for. You definitely don't want to put anything that's health related, because the Health Information Portability and Accountability Act comes into play there. You get in a lot of trouble. HIPAA for short, if you haven't heard of it. The European Union has their various different privacy laws that you have to obey, and then there's issues with data sovereignty, because who knows where the data centers are located if you use an online artificial intelligence, So whether it's Microsoft Copilot, OpenAI's ChatGPT, Claude, and Grok, from X. So any one of those, they can be handy, but don't tell them anything private, as you never know where that data can go. And that's why I've been, working on local systems where I can have a chat with an AI and that computer is not connected to the internet. So what I say to it remains private between me and the AI, and I can dump its memory. So yeah, you can talk about all kinds of things, or make it generate stuff for you, and who knows where it came from. Yeah, it's just you and the AI, and that's it. Nobody else knows. Not that it's anything nefarious or bad, but unfortunately, we live in a litigious society where people file frivolous lawsuits and cause problems, and just because they can. So, the only winning move is not to play. So, if my chats are private and I can dump them, with the AI, that's the better way to go. For anything that's non-public. Like I said, that way I can discuss things that are under NDA, or we could do patient-related information or credit card stuff. Say for example, you have a customer and you're like, I'm looking for patterns of bad behavior that might indicate that this is being used for crime. You know, I don't want to be legally liable for my customer abusing my service and using it for criminal activity. So, like a heads up, so I know which ones to dump.
Oh, I don't like this. Oh, boy.
Yeah, payment processors have to deal with this all the time. So if they're not on the hook for something, some criminal does. Yeah, granted, they could probably feign ignorance, but who knows? Yeah, it's one of those things where you just don't want to find out, because when you go to court, you spin the wheel of blame, and you never know what it's going to land on. But no, artificial intelligence has been very interesting. Now, a lot of people are not very happy with AI of recent, because they're like, "Oh, the AI is coming to take my job," and it's like, yeah, there are some jobs that are going away to AI, in fact, quite a few. But at the same time, AI also creates jobs, and that's what I'm trying to do is, enjoy job creation with artificial intelligence rather than be a victim of it. So that's why I want to be able to learn to use it so that I can be a more productive worker, and I can do the work of many people rather than and outproduce everybody else, rather than being the sole solitary worker that just works on their one and only thing. And it's like, well, how come Joe can do 3 times as much in the same amount of time as you can? What are you doing, slacking? you know Meanwhile, wink wink nudge nudge, I've got some silicon buddies. Well, not silicone, silicon. Silicon. Well, no, that's silicone. That's used for other purposes, although I think that's an obscenity. Natural is best, ladies. Any size is best as long as they're real. Don't go under the knife. Oh, you know what? A stash house nearby. Let's pay him a visit. The other thing is that I was kind of wondering, how am I going to do any video game stuff, because we're at a crossroads. At the time of this recording, in a few days, Microsoft will abandon support for Windows 10. The computer you're watching me play on here is a Windows 10 machine. And I'll be honest, I have no plans to upgrade it to Windows 11. I know the natural question is, Joe, why is that? And my answer would be that Windows 11 offers no tangible benefits to me as a user. Its benefits are to Microsoft. I don't see anything that Windows 11 adds that I care about. I'm sure someone will say, but what about this? And it's like, yeah, trust me, I've looked. To me, I just don't care. I just want to be able to game and have fun. And to be honest, there's more and more support for Linux for gaming these days than there ever was before. You know what? Here, I'll take this guy's bike. This might work out better. It's nice and fast. Get off of there. because I'm gonna have to come out of here in a hurry. Oh, let's see. Do I have any body armor? Yes, I do. Oh, I should have some health here. Here, I'll go inside first. Oh, is it around back? Oh, shoot, this isn't even the right side. Okay, well, good. Then while I'm on the bike, I can have a little goodies. There we go. Ah, there's the entrance to the stash house. I was wondering. There's a fence here, huh? I guess I could get out that way, but I think it'll be easier to get out this way. Okay, let's see. What was my favorite toy here? Actually, you know what? Nice big machine gun. Never fails. And nice big shotgun. There we go.
You fuckers! 이 망할 자식! 엎드려! 유동자가 있다!
Well, at least one dot disappeared.
Hit the floor! Someone's down!
Okay, well, there we go. There's a couple out of the way.
Let's party, motherfuckers!
Oh, one more. Oh, I guess that was him shooting at me. I thought it came from behind me for a moment there. Let's see, 280398. No, 28. 98. Oh no, the bike is gone. It wasn't actually my bike, so... Oh no, I got problems. They're going to be less than happy to see me. Come on, can I not boost over this wall? Are you kidding me? Time to find some wheels in a hurry. I wasn't expecting the darn thing to despawn. Oh, this doesn't look very fast.
Fucking idiot! You are so dead.
You better be able to run fast, jerk.
Hey, how's it going? Oh, yeah. What's going on, my dude? Hello? Motherfucker, raise them now.
There we go. They had lots of big old cars like this back in the 80s. In retrospect, it's amazing that you could find places to park them.
We should chill sometime.
Oh, since I'm going by the office, I can see whether or not there's any money to clean out.
Damn it! That rod is tight. Hey!
There we go. Always get an extra dollar or two. So, like I said, Windows 11 doesn't appear to offer any real benefits to me. Moreover, I'm kind of getting into the phase where I'm just getting sick of the bad behavior of these companies. Windows, 10 and 11 both are filled with telemetry. It generates telemetry with every key press. It's basically, I don't know, it just seems like keyloggers and spyware to me. So this gaming PC is my answer to it. Since I have to use Windows in order to play games like GTA because they use anti-cheat software that is not supported on Linux, not because they can't, simply because they choose not to. Um, yeah, my response
What's
is
up, boss?
to create a gaming PC that is empty. Um, you know what? Here, let's see what vehicles we have. Oh, not here. Garage. There we go. So I created a gaming PC that I'd be able to play online for Windows games that I could not play on Linux. And then I have a separate Linux gaming PC that I'm building that will be based off of a Radeon 7900 XT. Now you may ask, you're like, Joe, why aren't you using like a nice 5000 series NVIDIA card? The reason for that is very simple. I refuse to use um, anything that uses a 12 volt high power connector. I just won't do it. Sure, not all 12 volt high power connectors melt down and catch on fire, but if I use one, they definitely will because I'm using GPUs for AI. When I'm not gaming, this computer may have other things to do, you know. Let's see, where am I headed to? I bet there's some money in the arcade that I can clean out. So the thing with GPUs when you're using them for AI stuff is that you're pushing them to 100% for long extended periods of time. In my case, I have some AI jobs that can last for a day or two of just continuous balls to the wall, 100%. And the 12 volt high power connectors. I'm not an electrician, but it's obvious even to me that the wire gauge just looks too small for the amount of current that some of these things are pumping through. So they melt, they catch fire, they do other bad things. The only winning move is not to play. I'm not going to play a game of like, well, maybe this one won't. I was like, no, if it does it at all, I would rather have a GPU that has 8-pin power connectors. I have one and only one 5000 series NVIDIA card. That's a 5060 Ti. And the only reason I have that one is because, well, first of all, it has 16 gigs of RAM. Makes it good for AI. I mean, it's not really good for video games. And it has an 8-pin power connector. Like I said, if it's 12 volt high power, I just will not buy it. And then I also chose the Radeon because driver support for Linux for gaming is better on Radeon.
Oh, hey.
Well, at least with uh, I think Bazite did recently add NVIDIA cards, but at the time that I purchased my Radeon card, it was Radeon only. So that's why I picked it up. But I don't have any regrets. I mean, the 7900 XT is 20 gigs of VRAM on there. So it'll be good for AI goodness, and it'll be good for gaming. There shouldn't be any games that need more than 20 gigs worth of VRAM. So I will have a lot of fun with it once I get it all put together. And I was thinking of making a video series on that, demonstrating building my little system there. I was also thinking of making some other AI videos. There are other channels that they have sponsors, people send them stuff. I watched one the other day where it's like, hey, look at this NVIDIA Maxwell 96 gig GPU that I've got. And I was like, oh, Chucky darn, if only I had $10,000 in my pocket here to buy one of those things, which I don't. So I have to get back on the cheapy GPUs. So I'm using 4070s, a 5060 Ti, I've got a 3090. I'm about to start using the 7900 XT. Heck, I've even used a GTX 1070 for AI work. I mean, it has 8 gigs of RAM. That's good enough for 70 billion parameter models. They will fit in that amount of memory and do their work. Oh, and if you're wondering, like, well, what can you do with a 7B model? Well, I have one that knows what 14 languages, so its job is to translate books. The thing sits there and it's like, okay, we just finished writing this technical manual in English. Now we need a Spanish version, then do Korean, then do Japanese, then do Mandarin, on and on and on, and it will sit there and chew through the book and spit out versions in various different languages for us. And that's with a GTX 1070. I mean, if I looked on Jawa recently, those GPUs are going for $80. But and I'm sure there's probably some money changing hands. But like I said, all the channels are like, "Hey, look at the newest NVIDIA goodness that you can sell a kidney for." I'm like, "Yeah, but what about the GPUs that nobody cares about anymore that can actually be used for AI stuff? Even though they were never intended for that, they work. They functionally work. And if you're not rich, if you don't have like bazillion, pennies laying around that you can just blow on equipment, you might be able to be looking for applications that you can leverage with what you have available. That's what my focus would be because I've got ARC GPUs, like I said, the Radeon GPUs. I've got some old NVIDIA GPUs, and I was thinking of doing a series where I demonstrate how LLMs and that's large language models. Those are the ones where it's like a chat bot and it'll talk to you, or you can, have it write things for you with generative AI. Say, for example, I'm writing a technical manual and here's all the information I need to present, but I need to write it in a nice way. Some people have told me that I write too aggressively, so the AI's job is to soften up. I'm like, here are the facts, present them in a pleasing manner for people so they don't cry. And it's like, oh, okay, great, I could do that. The AI says, and it does its work. You know what? No, I'll do the hits later. I already spun the lucky wheel for the day, but I could always go enjoy a horse race or two. Oh, something has popped up here. Let's see what it is.
Yeah, what's cracking? Hey man, what's up?
This guy's making a getaway. What? Get off my hood! Let's see, what did they have? I don't even know. Oh, is it the vehicle itself? I guess so. Oh, now I gotta lose the cops. Oh, this is just sort of like real life. I have to do this all the time. Oh, I love a parade. Dun, 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 dun. Whoops. Oh, I'm going right by the police station. Crud. Oh, shoot, that's a dead end. Don't want to go in there. what about reading my rights to me? Oh, those aren't the police. Why am I swerving? I should just run people over. Oh, I escaped. All right. Deliver the vehicle to the drop-off. Okay. Where is the drop-off? Well, it's not too far. I have no idea what this is worth, but I saw the flashing dot and, whoops. Oh, am I going the wrong way? Yeah, I sure am. Sorry, missed my exit. Again, yeah, just like real life in LA. Yep, so I built this computer to be an empty gaming computer, but if you've watched my channel for any length of time, you may have heard of another computer I used to play with. I still do. The Red Storm. My old gaming PC has a nice big old 3080 Ti. I built it back in 2020 at the start of COVID. Uh, Lots of fun back then. Not, but at least I got to work from home for a couple of years. So, knock on wood. Yeah, I had some good luck there. But it also runs Windows 10, and I decided I am not going to upgrade that either. But with the Red Storm, I decided it would become an offline gaming PC. So I unplugged it from the internet, and now it sits there by itself and will never speak to the internet again. So I uninstalled World of Warcraft, Elder Scrolls Online, since those require internet connections, and everything from Steam. And I switched over to GOG.com. Um, oh, and there's a reason for that. Not too long ago, there was an incident where Steam they based their launcher on Google's Chrome browser. And so Google decided, well, we're just going to drop support for anything that isn't Windows 10 or 11. We don't care about Windows 7 or Windows 8. If if you're still using those, we are not going to support you. And so they basically gimped their browser so that it wouldn't run on those platforms. Now, I do still have older computers, but I wasn't actually affected. My girlfriend was, um, so got her a little upgrade, so that won't happen in the future. But the point was is that if you pay for Steam and you buy games on there, and the game says that the requirement for the game is Windows 7, and Steam ties themselves to Google, which won't allow you to use anything except Windows 10 and 11 and watch. They'll probably abandon 10 pretty soon. Now that Microsoft has decided, they want to force everybody to 11. I fully expect the Chrome browser to get an update in the near future and abandon Windows 10. And we'll see how long it takes. And I'm just not about that anymore. That is too annoying. Steam requires you to have an internet connection. They for digital rights management to make sure that their games are not being pirated. Yada yada. I get it. But the problem is that um, whoa, is that close or what? Wow, that really lit up the sky. So I was just not. I just didn't think it was very cool that Steam allowed Google to do that to everybody, and now they can't run the games that they played on whatever platform they want. Yeah. All it matters is that we paid for the game legally. We should be able to play it on anything we want that the game supports. With GOG.com, they offer the ability to download games onto a thumb drive, and you can install them completely offline. So now that my old gaming PC is unplugged from the internet, I can play, single player games, well, even multiplayer games that support local area network support. And I do not have to deal with updates. And the reason I'm not interested in updates is a good example would be Skyrim, where Bethesda updated it and added features people don't want, like their stupid store. We already had add-ons. We were getting them for free from other people. Um, and they're like, no, we want to have a slice of the add-on pie. So they added add-ons. Another good example would be Warcraft 3, where Blizzard, insisted, the game always has to be online. You have to be on no matter what. You can't just play that offline like you could with Warcraft 1 and 2. And then that gave them a little string to tug on and then take it away after the fact. They did the same thing with Overwatch 1 and said, okay, Overwatch 1 is gone. Now you have to play Overwatch 2, sucker. And I was like, no, I am not doing this bullshit. I wonder if there's any money in there. It's not lighting up. So, so I don't know. I'm at that stage of life where I'm tired of people messing with me. I don't want to buy things that have strings attached. So I'm not buying any games that are single player, always online, day one DLC, battle pass, baloney. In fact, Cyberpunk 2077 cured me of that because I foolishly thought, well, they did such a good job on Witcher 3. Surely Cyberpunk will be fantastic. And I pre ordered that, and the game was nigh unplayable due to game breaking bugs when it came out. It was crashing all the time. By the time the game was stable enough to play, it was on sale. It taught me a lesson: never, never, never to pre order anything. And like I said, some updates break games, add features that you don't want, take away features that you had already that you paid for, and they like to change the terms of the sale after they have your money. And it's bullshit. Um, let's see. I'm going to go ahead and say maybe the odds are right this time. So the nice thing about having an offline gaming PC is that I buy the game, I install the game, and I can play the game as long as that computer doesn't drop dead. Oh, these are either one. Let's see, Bouncy Blessed, we'll say. So we're rooting for number 4. Come on, 4. Oh, don't burn yourself out, 4. Come on. Nope, so much for that. Ah, 27 to 1? Wow, that would have been a payday. We could probably do one more while we're waiting. Well, you know what? Let's bet on the bad egg. I'm probably gonna lose, but after that performance, just for fun, wouldn't that be funny? Yep, a very bad egg.
Sounds like some hippie crap, but it's a fantastic horse owned by a rich guy.
You know, in real life, I actually did have an experience similar to that, where I was at a track and there was a horse with an unusual name that I thought was funny, and I put $10 on him, and he had 10 to 1 odds of winning, and he won. It was a good day. Okay, well, we can watch the main event here. So I kind of enjoy my offline gaming PC because I can play for hours in there and nobody can mess with me. No internet access, no updates. Heck, I've had Windows like update drivers without asking me and break a bunch of stuff. Like I said, video game manufacturers that the publishers will publish some onerous update. I can think of a few where, like for example, they said they waited for the reviews to come out, and the reviews are like, "Oh, thank goodness, there's no in-game cash shop." And then as soon as the reviews are out and the game sells, an update comes out, and suddenly there's an in-game cash shop after the fact. It's obvious what was planned there, and it's I'm sick of it. If the game says that it's single player and it's always online, I'm not buying it. I don't care what it is. I've had my fill of those. With GTA, I can understand because the idea is that you're playing with other people on a server. Same thing with World of Warcraft. Same thing with Elder Scrolls Online. But that's it. I should not have to be online to play a single player game if I don't want to.
Number 3, looking good.
Oh, let's see. I'm horse number 5.
Can 5 get out of last?
Oh,
The third position is held by the 4 horse.
guess 5 hurt him. Come on, 5. Don't burn yourself out.
Back and forth. They're halfway home.
Come on, 5.
The 4 horse is
I'm
the
cheering
better
for
horse
you.
now. The crowd is on their feet.
No, no. 5. Come on.
First place for the 1 horse.
Oh, 5.
Coming to the wire. And the race is over. Yayo, let's go takes it.
Time for the glue factory for number 5 there. Oh, well. Yeah, so I was debating. I've run into a lot of people that are not aware that there are options like GOG.com where you can download things and install them locally, and you do not have to have internet access. Um, and see, that's the other thing with Windows 10. Everyone's like, "Oh, a hacker's scary." Well, all the danger for um, operating systems that are out of support is the internet. If the machine's not talking to anybody, it's not going to have any problems. For everything else, there's Linux. That's the OS that I've been moving over to. Is everything's just better Linux here. I have quite a few Linux machines. In particular, I kind of like an Ubuntu-based one called Zorin OS. It's very nice and clean and very simple. Heck, I even gave my mother an Intel N100 running Zorin OS, and that replaced her Roku. And so she sits in her living room with a Linux PC and watches, Hulu and Netflix and everything else on it. I personally prefer a PC to the Roku because, again, it's a matter of choice. The Roku had a thing where they decided that they didn't like Twitch, and so they said, "No, we're removing Twitch from our app store. You're not allowed to watch Twitch stuff on the Roku." And I'm like, "Hey, wait a minute. I paid for this thing. You don't tell me what services I can and can't watch. You just are there to facilitate my choices. You don't make them for me." So as soon as they basically banned Twitch off of Roku. I was like, all right, Roku is fired. I had three of them. I pulled all of them out and I replaced them with Intel N100s. If you're not familiar with it, the N100 is a low-powered. It's basically a Celeron processor, but these days the technology has gotten so good that it has the same horsepower as an i5, maybe fifth or even sixth generation. And Intel kept everybody on quad cores for the longest time, so most of the software is written for that. Oh, and by the way, they run Linux just fine. So it comes with Windows 11 Pro, but you know, do you need all that bloat and garbage on top of a computer that's just going to sit there to watch TV? At first, my mother said she wanted Windows, and so I let her have it. And then she clicked around on something and ended up with a browser hijacker and some horrible thing taking over her computer. I was like, okay, Mom, I'm sorry. This is not working out. We are wiping this thing. It's Linux time. And she's been happy ever since. To her, Zorin OS doesn't really look any different than Windows. It plays solitaire. It has a Firefox browser. It goes to her email. It plays all of the streaming services she is subscribed to. That's all that matters. Oh, and unlike it's got storage, unlike the Roku, so I can, load up pictures and stuff. It's like, hey, mom, here's my pictures from my latest trip, and it's like the old days when you'd have a slide projector, except now it's an 100 displaying it on a 65-inch LCD screen, and it'll play videos too. The N150s are even better because the N100s are good for 1080p. The N150s have the horsepower for 4K playback. You could probably juice the N100 to get 4K playback, but it might be a little stuttery and drop some frames here and there. I'm a little snobbish when it comes to that, so I'd say 150s, N150s are better for stuff like that.
Whoa! That's just wrong.
Yeah, so those are the things that I've been basically up to. So uh, still going to school because I have 2 degrees. Now I'm going for a third degree because I just enjoy punishment. But knock on wood, I credit the fact that I've been gainfully employed, you know, for all my adult life, thanks to the education and certifications that I
I really
earned and maintain. Um, like I said, make sure that if you are considering higher education of any sort, that it teaches you an employable skill. Um, Sometimes trade schools are the way to go because they're cheap and, you know, an electrician, plumber, HVAC. I mean, these things will be in demand forever. I like to think of myself as, well, plumber adjacent. My work is stuff that's vital for everybody to have, and like a plumber, when the toilets are overflowing, people will pay anything to make it stop. You know, so I get called into emergencies to fix problems made by other people. And did I already check this? I don't even remember. Uh, Been sitting here yapping. Oh, that was a couple of dollars. Oh, speaking of which, you know what? I can check and see. I have an inventory of cars that are waiting to be sold. So maybe I can sell a car.
The more you pay me, the better your fortune will be. Maybe.
Maybe. These trucks here are special ones that come off of this. There's a lot uh, up at the north, and occasionally these trucks appear on the lot, and they're worth quite a bit. It's random when they drop. Some people say that if you drive past the lot in a certain kind of truck, they're more likely to spawn. I don't know if that's actually the case. I've found them even without that. I don't know what the odds are. But just to give you an example of how much this thing is worth, I mean, There are cars that you can steal on the street and sell for $9,500. This one's worth a bit more than that. Oh, and you know what? We can head by that lot here in a bit, and you can see what it looks like. See if I get lucky and one spawns. In Los Santos, stoplights and stop signs are just suggestions. Ones that I ignore. But I have a feeling I'm not the only one. Oh! Try not to bash this thing up. I want to sell it.
What miracle did you want me to perform?
So as you can see, this one's worth 18,000, and you can just find it on the lot.
Whoa!
Jesus fucking Christ!
Could always use a little walking around money.
I hear ya. Hey, you're supposed to call me.
Oh well. I was thinking of like stealing another car. Oh, I guess my car got returned. Huh. I
Oh,
guess I will steal a car.
yeah, that's a great choice for our first date.
Hey, it's my car. All right, then I guess this will be my car.
What's going on?
That's what happens when you eat too much soy. You're a pushover.
What? Fuck!
Check out the new Limeys. It's great.
Let's see. Where is that place? Oh, here we go. Since we were talking about spawning vehicles, there was something I wanted to show off.
I love that.
I used to be pretty good at spawning those things, and this was before I had built up any businesses in game in order to make money. Get out of my way. Criminal mastermind coming through. I have right away. Oh, yeah, speaking of crime, guess I have a little bottleneck. Oh well. So as you can see, I've had a bit of fun spawning these things. Now you can only sell one like every 45 minutes, so it takes a while in order to convert all these into cash, but just every once in a while when I have an extra moment or two, I'll sell one. As a matter of fact, here, we'll grab one, and by magic, somehow I'm able to drive this thing out through this big mess of vehicles. And I'll show you where they come from. Who knows, maybe we get lucky. It's this lot right here.
What do you mean you found some vegetable pancakes? All I needed was some more red.
Although I'm not interested in taking these back roads. I'm going to go take the freeway. It'll be easier. Yeah, that's something that's very realistic in GTA 5. Just like real life, the GPS always picks the stupidest route imaginable.
Oh, look! A walking
My GPS always seems to want to take back roads that have no names, and uh, I remember I'm like driving home one night, and it's like, here, turn here, and it's like some dirt road in the woods. I'm like, no, we are not going that way. I'm gonna keep on going down the interstate until we get to the interchange. I'm not going down Murder Road to find out what's there in the dark. Oh, honestly, get out of the way.
Hello?
Trucks have right away. If I ever win the lottery, I'm gonna buy the oldest, rustiest truck, and if people get in my way, I'll just smash them out because out of the way, because I'll be able to afford the court cases. I won't have to tolerate plebs cutting me off in traffic anymore. And I could just see the judge. It's like, I hereby fine you this much money. I was like, oh, great! I spent more on breakfast than this fine. Like, here you go. Oh, of course, watch it. If I ever win the lottery and I have a rusty truck, this will be played back in a court. It's like, see, Your Honor, he had the intent to go out and cause all these accidents. And I'm like, no, no, I just didn't want people blocking my path. Whoa, out of my way. I got places to be. Criminal coming through. Now, I thought I'd bring this truck to see whether or not it gives us any better chance of spawning something. Here, let's update the GPS now that we're getting close. That way it highlights the right place to turn off. No, so that's been an issue. Like I said, working two jobs, going to school full time, has not left me. And then I'm, like I said, trying to teach myself things in order to stay relevant. Uh, it kind of cuts into my time for gaming. All my friends in World of Warcraft probably think I died. Same thing with Elder Scrolls Online. Hell, same thing with Discord for that matter. It's just I don't have a predictable time when I'm available. It's like sometimes I'm scheduled to do something and it gets canceled. So I was like, woo, surprise game time. And then other times I have game time scheduled and they're like, hey, Joe, would you like some overtime to work? I'm like, yes, yes, I never say no. And so then I end up having to cancel out on game time. Wow, the lot is empty, but at least there's a dealer over here to sell to. It's not a wasted trip. Okay, where's this guy hiding? Oh, in here by the dumpster. My meth lab got raided recently, so I have to rebuild it. I just haven't gotten around to it. Okay, let's see, what time of day is it? It's only 2 o'clock. There should be cars on that lot. I can force a respawn. With GTA, things only exist if you're looking at them. Once you get out of range, everything kind of despawns, and so the world only looks persistent. There are a few exceptions for, like, if there are multiple players on the board and there's some event happening, those things will spawn. But here, I've gone out of range of the car lot, and I can come back and basically force a respawn of everything on the lot. Honestly. Nothing still. Oh no, there it is. But now it's all just junk cars. So again, I'll just go out of range. Who knows? The RNG may not love me today. There are times where I've gotten lucky where it would spawn 3 vehicles in a row, and then other times where I'd go a whole day and nothing. So there are definitely a lot easier ways to make money in GTA 5, but this just was like some quirky thing that I discovered one day, and I thought it was so interesting. Good grief. This truck goes over a pebble and it wants to flip. Love those GTA physics. The funny thing is that as you watch it spawn, sometimes it'll spawn a vehicle, and then it acts like it changes its mind, and I've also had vehicles spawn in as I'm driving away too. So I like to keep an eye out as I go off into the distance. Good grief, the visibility is getting bad. You see how things pop in and pop out? Oh well. Whoops. Uh-oh. Oh, you want to fight about it? You want to fight? Fight. There, now he's dead. Oh, that was worth a star, so gonna go get lost for a minute. You don't see me, so I'm not there. Boy, it sure is insistent on this star. Finally, honestly. Okay, well, RNG is not going to be nice today. Sometimes I get lucky and they spawn right away, and then other times, like I said, I can go back and forth and they don't. For a while there, I was wondering if they had patched it out of the game, but then I was just driving by in a regular car and one of the big blue trucks spawned. So I don't know how they have it set up. Well, and I've been seeing this dot here on the map. Might as well go see what that is. Oh, the other thing I've been thinking about is should I bring back my cat avatar? So one of the things that's become popular since I took my break from YouTube is VTubers. Usually it's girls with cat girl avatars. Everyone likes listening to a pretty girl, me included. I guess,
Hey!
I guess it's this car. Ah, yoink! I guess nobody cares. Nobody had anything to say. I'll just drop this off at Exotic Imports. Of course, it's like all the way across the map. Yeah, I don't think we had that term VTuber at the time that I was using my cat avatar. So I guess I was, in a way, a VTuber before it was cool. Now there are all these VTuber agencies that have talent, and I'm guilty of watching a few girls all the time. Pipkin, Pippa, Fillion, Smug Alana. Uh, Alana is probably the easiest one to listen to because I can listen to her in the car because she does all these reactions and chats a lot. Fillion is more of a experience, you know. Yeah, she does lots of motion capture dancing, and so it's more visual to see. It's not something you can listen to on the way to work. And Pippa is fun to listen for the crash outs. She has some very interesting perspectives on things, shall we say. Whoops. Guess they're going to take off on for scratching the paint, I bet. Yeah, but I thought of bringing the cat avatar back, or maybe even having a nicer one made. I was just using the generic cat avatar that came with. It's not actually available anymore. Darn it, I'm trying to remember the name of the program. It was replaced by Animaze. Of course, with Animaze, it's a monthly subscription. You know, I liked this one because, oh, good grief. Yeah, because I'm at that point where I hate anything that has a subscription attached to it. You know, I think, like for example, everything from Adobe, you know, where you have to have their cloud subscription. They don't want to sell you any of their software with a perpetual license anymore. To heck with that noise. In fact, that's actually why I still have a Windows 7 machine. And it doesn't talk to the internet either because it has, um, what is it, video editing software, image editing software, and an older version of Microsoft Office that did not require internet access. Everything's all fully licensed and activated. These days, I'm sure the licensing servers are all gone. So if I ever had to reinstall it, I would be SOL. So knock on wood that machine doesn't die for a long time. Of course, I can make backups of its drive. So if I had to, I could even reinstall the system drive from a backup and save all the programs that I've invested in. It's an old machine. I mean, it's an old Haswell. This thing's 14 years old, but it still does its job. So it's still valuable. All right, so this car is now loaded on a shady ship, and we'll be sold someplace overseas. Okay, let's see. Where are they going to deliver? Oh, look at that. They delivered it here. Okay, I was worried I was going to have to run back to the street. I don't know. I have to admit, I've been impressed with some of these rack videos that people are putting out. I was wondering if I should put out my own. My biggest problem, though, is time. I don't know when I'd have the time to actually do stuff like that. And I'm probably never going to be as popular as all the gals with the cute voices. I guess somebody listens to me. I have a couple of subscribers, but although my YouTube statistics have always indicated that 75% of the people that view my content are not subscribed. So if you haven't subscribed, please do. It always helps me out. And if you ever see any videos that have merch links to like Amazon or whatnot, it always helps me out if you find something you like through those merch links. So thanks in advance, just in case. In fact, speaking of that, I actually have a sponsor that sponsors me now. Um, and I will drop a link to their stuff in the description. Oh, I guess I should mention what it is. They make coloring books, interestingly enough. I don't know, maybe I should do a stream where yeah, be like, yeah, real men color. You know, it's like, I'm not going to turn it down. That's my first sponsor, so uh, sure, coloring books, why not? Makes for nice stress relief. I actually suggested to them a title. I don't know if they liked it, but yeah, because they were like, hey, would you like to have like a title that gets named after something you suggest? And I was like, how about you know uh, fun with coloring because murder is wrong? And they're like, what are you talking about? I was like, well, I need a lot of stress relief. You have no idea. I work 2 jobs. I'm going to school full time. It's amazing I haven't murdered anybody yet. So I go online in games like this and get my murder fix in. It's very cathartic, just randomly running over people and shooting people in GTA.
Oh, fuck!
Okay, well, I probably rambled on long enough, so you know what I've been up to and where I've been, and let's see if I can't make some videos a little bit more
Watch
often.
out!
And like I said, I'm looking at making some videos about AI stuff on my technology channel, except instead of like the channels that have the outrageously expensive GPUs that somebody sent them, mine's gonna be like the budget AI channel where it's like, hey, look at this! I got this GPU. It's worth like $80. Let's make it do stuff, Ta-da! And
What a car! Fuck Good up! for you!
or yeah, some videos of assembling gaming PCs, of setting up Linux for various flavors. Oh, and then testing GPUs. Like I said, I've got NVIDIA, Arc, Radeon. I'm vendor agnostic. Anybody who gets me the performance that I need and doesn't force me to use a 12-volt high power connector, I'm fine with. So I hate to admit it, but I've seen some Radeon GPUs that have 12-volt high power connectors. I'm like, why? Why would you
Blimey!
face that GPU with that stupid connector? You know? I hate those things. Um, I'm not a fan of Windows 11, so yeah, like I said, I'm just going to run my gaming PC on Windows 10. That'll be another thing. Let's see if anything bad happens. I bet you it doesn't. Um, Not unless Microsoft pushes a forced update to break things, because that's never happened, right? And maybe we can make some videos on how well things work on Linux. Like I said, there are titles like GTA that aren't going to run on Linux simply because they're using anti-cheat software that refuses to be made for Linux. It's not that they can't; they choose not to. But there are plenty of other titles that do. Oh, and then of course maybe some segments on offline gaming. So all the titles. Now, a lot of people think, well, GOG is only for retro games. It's like, no, no, that's not true. RoboCop had a good game that came out recently, and that is available on GOG DRM free, so that you can download it to a thumb drive and install it onto an offline computer and have lots of fun without stupid internet problems. Without forced updates, without garbage from Microsoft. It's very, very nice having a machine that's just a machine. Now, in case you're wondering, and I'll go ahead and I'll date myself, a lot of people assume that I'm younger than I am because I like to think that I'm young at heart. But in reality, well, when the first Star Wars movie, the very first one, came out, I was in a theater watching it. So my first PC was a TRS 80. My second one was a Commodore 64. So, yeah, I've been around for a little while. As long as there have been home computers, I've had one. And I spent a lot of time with those computers before the internet. And so I don't have any problems disconnecting a computer from the internet because there are still lots of things I can do with them without internet access. In fact, places I've worked have closed networks that have no internet access, and they're stocked up with application servers. They do all their work internally, and then the finished products are the only things that leave the network. But the machines never, ever, ever talk to the internet for security reasons. Because, like I said, if you've signed an NDA, if in some cases if you're responsible for health information, if you're storing and processing credit card records, I mean, some of those companies do go ahead and connect to the internet, and you roll the dice. Hopefully you've got really good security, because if you don't, you know there's some lawyer waiting to sue you. Places I worked actually had their own separate networks that never spoke to the internet, and we could do all kinds of magical things in there, and we didn't have to deal with internet baloney on those networks, and it was pretty good. And that kind of changed my attitude. I was like, yeah, for a while there, I couldn't see a purpose for computers without internet access, but because I've been mistreated by Microsoft, by game companies, and their stupid, like I said, forced patches, taking away features after they bought it, adding stuff in that you don't want after you bought it, in-game stores and crap like that. Now, the only games I want to buy are on GOG. If I can't take the game offline, because I mostly play games by myself, other than World of Warcraft and ESO, which are multiplayer experiences, and GTA. I'm usually just play single player games. I do not need to play a single player game that requires internet access. That's stupid, and I'm just not going to do it. But if you're curious how to set something like that up, I'll probably have a video or two about that. Not only that, but with Microsoft abandoning Windows 10, we're at an interesting crossroads. There are a lot of people that don't realize that they could use Linux, or they don't want to learn it because they think it's going to be really difficult, not realizing that it's actually pretty easy. That many of the things that they do, if you know, will carry over. I'll give you a good example. Um, I know this video is getting kind of long as it is, and that is, I guess it's going to rain. Woo, that's some weather. Let me return this car. well, truck in this case. That way it gets repaired. I'll just steal a car. What was I saying? I already forgot. Oh yeah. Um, yeah, I'm tired of, like I said, all the passes and other stuff. I'm trying to pay off debt, and every subscription nibbles away at that and makes it more difficult to pay off principals on debt. Uh, so I don't have any use for streaming services. I'm building my own media server. I'm actually buying discs. Even as they try to cut off that avenue, you'll see that they stopped selling disc players for PCs. So I bought like a stack of them because I've actually worn players out as I've been reading discs in order to feed my media server. Because I got real pissed off when, like for example, they go and they edit classic movies, Back to the Future, Splash. You can look up, the controversies around those, where they're like, "Oh, we're offended by, PG movies from the '80s now, and oh, people can't take it. We have to go back and edit those." And it's like, good grief, the only way to be able to see things the way that they were presented is to have your own physical copy and be able to enjoy it at home. The streaming services cannot be relied upon. Not only that, but you may purchase things and then find that they go away because all you're purchasing is a quote unquote license. That happened to people on Apple, for example, where they're like, I bought this movie and it disappeared from my library. And they call up, where is my movie? I paid for that. And they're like, well, you paid for a license, and we only had it up for this amount of time and time's up. Thanks for the money, sucker. And they're like, wait a minute, I want a refund. They're like, nope, no refunds. So I'm at the point where I hate all these services. You know, if I give you money, you give me a product in my hand. If I can't use that product without being connected to the internet, it's not really mine, and it's worthless to me. So I stopped buying all of this internet connected crap. I Heck, I saw a washing machine the other day. Well, not a washing machine, a dishwasher that required internet in order to, because the functions weren't buttons on the face. You had to use an app on your phone, and the only way and it had to have Bluetooth and internet, and so the only way you could run your dishwasher is if you pay a subscription. I was like, F that noise. I am not buying any of that garbage. Nothing in my house is smart. Yeah. Uh,
I love
well,
called
my
earlier.
TV does have an option. It's like, connect me to the internet, Joe. And I'm like, nope.
We
I've
do
got a
have
little
time
N100 to
tomorrow.
stick up your butt, and you're going to display whatever that
Why
computer
can't we have
tells you.
time tomorrow?
And it runs Linux. And so, you know,
I t-
I mean, there was a whole scandal with Samsung, for example, where they had TVs that have microphones, and they were broadcasting whatever you said around them over the internet, unencrypted. And when the Samsung CEO was asked about it, he just shrugged and said, "Don't talk about anything private in front of the TV." I'm like, "No, that is a wrong answer." I'm tired of everything trying to spy on me, and like I said, garbage and whatnot. It's just, I guess I've reached my old man phase. I'm sick of. I mean, I consider myself a technophile, but I like technology that serves my purposes, not someone else's. And if the machine, if the software, if it's not under my control, then it's trash to me. You know? Heck, I see now that they have PCs that come with microphones built into them, which you can't unplug and you can't disable. Give me a break. Um, this computer that I built myself, I'm wearing a headset, and when I'm done, I unplug the headset. I also unplug the computer. So this machine is only on when it's time to game or time to make a video. So it stays under my control because it's Windows and I don't trust it.
Watch out, babes. That's a
Well,
traffic accident looking like that.
I think that's God's way of telling me is like, Joe, you've been ranting too much. Probably call it right here. It's like, okay, okay. I'll go ahead and we'll call it a night. Join me next time here on Joe Super Fantabulous PC Gaming Channel for my own crash outs, and maybe we can have some more fun and ranting about all the things we hate about technology and how we're going to make it serve us rather than the other way around. See you next time.